we want to amplify our power. So I know why you're here, and today we will present to you, let me just move my slide here. Actually, before I go to the slide, I just want to say, for those who need interpretation, please scan the QR code, and you just have to, I guess, use your headset. Okay, so for those who need it. All right, so today we will present to you the Rotary Community Corps as a way to amplify your club's impact, and as a Rotarian, your impact. And you may already be familiar with Rotary Community Corps, or in short, RCC. Just raise your hand. Have you heard of RCC before? Yay. The ones who haven't heard it before, raise your hand. Beautiful. Are you glad, Annabelle and Ida? We have first timers. Beautiful. I'm glad we're doing this session. So either way, we hope that you will take away so much today about RCC and that you will share it and bring it home to your club. Okay, so I am excited to be joined by Ida Osren and Annabelle, who will share in a while their RCC stories and insights. So thank you, Ida and Annabelle, for being here. And again, thank you all for being here. All right, so first, I just want to briefly show the 4 priorities of the Rotary's action plan. And we're not really here to expand on each of these, but please raise your hand if you have seen this before. Yay. All right. Great. Thank you. Okay, so today we will highlight one of these 4 priorities, how to increase our impact. And I am sure that every single one of us here, right, have the desire to do so. I've not met a Rotarian who doesn't want to increase their impact. So I believe that you will see later that in doing so, through Rotary Community Corps, we do not only increase our impact, but we also enhance our engagement, expand our reach, and increase our ability to adapt. So this is a very exciting topic, everybody. So to start us off, let us just reflect with this question. What limits your impact as a Rotarian today? Is it time? Is it membership? Is it ideas? Or is it not having enough hands to carry the work? So the reality is Rotary clubs want to do more, yeah? Rotarians want to give more, yeah? We care deeply, we serve consistently, we give and we show up. And in doing so, many clubs, and Rotarians, of course, may feel stretched. And as Rotarians we may feel stressed. The breakout session just before ours is about burnout, and Gordon McAnally and Becky from Rotary Club of Global Action spoke about it. So I guess I'm going to ask, raise your hands again if you have felt stretched and stressed in your service. Who didn't raise their hand? They have a secret, right? All right, so what's the problem? What's the problem? So the problem is not because we lack passion or we are not committed, because I know Rotarians are passionate and very committed. Yeah, nodding heads, yes. And so perhaps the problem is that we are trying to carry too much on our own. And as a result, our capacity then becomes limited and we become overburdened. And I think we all have an idea what happens when we become overburdened. We can burn out. And as a result, ultimately, the community that we serve suffers. So maybe the question to ask ourselves is not really how can we do more, but rather asking ourselves, how can we do this differently? Because lasting impact does not happen when communities depend entirely on us. What if the answer to our question of how can we do this differently is not about doing more projects, but rather more community? And perhaps a shift in our thinking, because again, lasting impact happens when communities are involved, engaged, meaning being part of the change process and taking ownership of the solution. So from thinking doing to communities to doing with communities, from having beneficiaries to thinking having partners, and from thinking short-term community projects to thinking shared community service. So this is where Rotary Community Core comes in, and it is where your club's power becomes amplified. So what exactly is Rotary Community Core? So RCC, in short, is a group of non-Rotarians who organize and lead service activities in partnership with a Rotary Club. They are community members, mothers, parents, teachers, farmers, caregivers, local leaders. They are people who understand the realities and needs of their own community. They are people who want to take action to make a difference. So RCC gives them structure, partnership, mentorship, and connection with Rotary. RCC expands Rotary's reach, strengthens sustainability, and builds community ownership. But something very important to note that we need to remember is that RCC is not meant to replace Rotary clubs. Okay, so why does RCC matter? RCC matters because communities are not merely empty spaces waiting to be saved. They are already containing strengths, knowledge, wisdom, leadership, and lived experience. RCC helps unlock all of that. When community members become part of the solution, ownership increases, sustainability improves, local leadership gets discovered and develops, and impact becomes deep and longer lasting. So instead of service being done to the community, it becomes something built with the community. So what happens when RCC works? Well, several important things begin to happen. Communities become more engaged. Solutions begin emerging from within the community itself. Diversity, equity, and inclusion improve because more voices are participating and involved. And Rotary's impact expands far beyond what a club could do alone. Now, RCC is not about creating helpers nor having more volunteers. It is about building leadership, participation, and shared responsibility. Now, it's one thing to talk about RCC the way that I just did, but it's another thing to see and hear about what actually happens and what becomes possible at the ground level. So at this point, I would like to bring Ida Azurin, someone whose experience with RCC is truly inspiring. Ida has helped organize and support more than 150 RCCs in her district 2440 in Turkey. And she is a past district governor and a Sylvia Whitlock Award recipient. That's something to clap for. And through her experience, we can better understand not only the opportunities of RCC, but the realities, challenges, and insights of what it's like to have RCCs. Thank you, Ida. Please welcome Ida.
Thank you, Glenda, for this wonderful opportunity and wonderful introduction for me. I'm very pleased to be here representing RCC is one of the most important, let's say, part of Rotary growth. Let's start. Let me change this. This is me. I'm coming from Eastern Turkey. As district governor, and I'm so glad that my classmates are here. One of my presidents is here. Incoming president from Turkish community, but he's serving for the Chicago One Club here. Not least, but Kenny is here from Taiwan. He just arrived, and we are just friends here in Taiwan, and he also been in one of his club meetings yesterday. So let's start with a moment of absolute honesty. Think back to the very best project of your club. The kind of project that made you proud of. And where your Rotary people. Now let me ask you another difficult question. If you visit that same project site 5 years from now, what will you find there? Will the equipment we donated still be there, running? Will the program we funded still be alive? Or will the paint have killed, the machines broken down, or the community moved on? We are an action. We are an organization of action. We are phenomenal at immediate relief when a crisis hits, when a school needs a book, when a clinic needs a machine. We show up. We write the check. We cut the ribbon. We take the photo. And it feels wonderful. It is clean, it is predictable, and it is honorable, of course. But traditional charity has a quite unintended side effect. It creates a dependency gap. When we walk into an underserved community or a village as the heroes, the Rotary of Action groups, we solve the problem over there from the outside. But we unintentionally teach that community to wait for the next change. But we aren't just donors. We are change makers. And that is why we need to talk about the most underutilized asset in the Rotary world, the Rotary community cause. I know the skepticism around the Rotary growth. I have heard so many concerns about from boards, club presidents, the leaders from all over across the globe. It's too complicated, they say. We lose control of our brand, PI said. And what if they mismanage the project? Some past district governors or past presidents said. These are all valid, responsible questions, of course, from leaders who care about the Rotary, protecting Rotary's legacy. But let's look at the reality. NRCC is not us giving up the control, it is us multiplying our impact. NRCC is a team of non-Rotarians, as Glenda said, local villagers, neighborhood leaders, NGO volunteers, women's collectives mostly, and who live on the project site 365 days a year, more than us. Think of it, not through the lens of pure altruism, but through the lens of a business mindset. Think it as if a return of investment. Let's move on. When we invest in an RCC, we aren't just funding the project. We are funding a local management team. They are our eyes. They are our ears. They are our boots on the ground. They ensure that our investment is protected because it belongs to them, not just to us. When a community co-designs the solution, identifies its own needs, and puts it on sweat equity into the ground, they never let the project down. They will maintain the water filters. They will manage the vocational center. They will keep the sewing machines gone through running along, and after our club's official visit per once a year. In the Turkish landscape, we are three districts, 2420 for Istanbul region, 2430 for the North Anatolia and the eastern part of Anatolia and some Turkic republics, and mine is 2440, the western coast of Anatolia. My district has more than 150 community clubs, and maybe you can wonder about how many clubs we have. We have like 75 clubs, Rotary clubs, and 40 Rotary clubs, which means that every club has 2 community clubs that are running. While Rotary clubs are often viewed through the lens of professional networking, the RCC is the, as I told, boots on the ground bridge that connects professionals and the resources of Rotary with the grassroots needs. Turkish Rotary has moved past the charity model toward the empowerment. And let's hear more about why these corps are more vital to the Turkish Rotary mission. First of all, the local ownership. Instead of Rotarians telling a village or a hospital, school or an NGO what they need, the RCC identifies its needs to own priorities. But if it's needed water, clean water system, or a vocational training, whatever, the community itself has the awareness of their needs. A club spends thousands of dollars in equipment for a school or a community, but without local ownership, that equipment can be broken or neglected within 2 years. NRCC is our local management team. They ensure our project succeeds in 365 days a year, and even when we are not there. But we always talking about Rotary work in the global grant or in the foundation, whatever what we do is the sustainability. Because the members live in that community, the projects don't end when the Rotary Club's official visit is over. They provide the daily oversight that ensures the curriculum is maintained and programs continue after you leave. We leave professional mentorship there and technical transfer from Rotary professionals to the owners of that RCC. And RCCs often act as the implementation for vocational service. We teach how to fish, not feeding them by fish. And we are doing skill building. Many Turkish RCCs focus on agricultural cooperatives, engineering, carpentry, welding, or women's handicraft collectors. Rotarians provide know-how, business plans, legal structures, branding, while the RCC provides the labor and the local insight. We have the economic resilience. By formalizing these community corps, Rotary helps micro-entrepreneurs enter the formal economy, moving from sporadic aid to consistent income, which is again the sustainability key point. We are very good at crisis response and mobilization. In the post-earthquake shift following as you know, the big earthquake hit 2023, the subsequent recovery efforts, the role of community corps in Turkey has gained renewed urgency. We've done a lot with the RCC's help because they know what the needs are, and we can go there and just to help as the Rotary districts identify where mobile clinics, schools, or housing units are necessary. These are all coming from the earthquake area. And of course, psychosociological efforts to the community when they have that kind of needs for that. Key focus areas, mostly in Turkey, is the literacy and education, reducing the digital divide, trying to be, quick, and rural development as modernizing the irrigation, the water needs, and of course the power of women in those rural areas. Environmental actions also is important. And these are all good things, but what are the challenges? Let's look at some challenges as well. Yes, the Rotary Community Corps are very, very powerful. Its position at the intersection of the profession with the NGOs, grassroots communities, as I said. But there are some friction points generally fail into cultural, economic, and structural challenges. As I told in the first act, that navigating the cultural shift from charity model to the ownership is one of the biggest hurdles in psychological law, because many vulnerable communities are accustomed to a traditional welfare or charity model, where an organization visits, hands over donations, and leaves. These models shifting the mindset so that the local RCCs understand they must own, they must lead, and they have to maintain the project requires immense patience. So this is one of the challenges. Rotarians are typically urban professionals, executives and business leaders, and RCC members are often rural villagers or underserved urban residents. Bridging this cultural and socio-economic gap requires building deep mutual trust so that the relationship feels like a genuine partnership rather than a top-down hierarchy. This is one of the other kind of a challenge. And the other challenge that I always admire in Rotary leadership is the turnover leadership. Because Rotary operates on a very strict and sharp annual rotation. Every district governor serves for 1 year. Every president serves for 1 year. But an RCC project is a sustainable one. So it requires multi-year consistency. If a sponsoring club new leadership shifts its focus to a different cause, an existing RCC can feel abandoned or lose its momentum. So this is one of the other challenges. And of course, official permissions is another challenge in Turkey, aligning grassroots in RCC projects with the local municipalities, government social services, or agricultural directorates can involve sometimes problems to locate those licenses and so on. Traditional charity is clean, predictable, and offer instant gratification. Taking a photo and holding a donation check is really simple. But building an RCC is a messy, long-term, and requires sharing control with non-Rotarians. RCC handles local implementation, while how the Rotary Club handles governance. We have done a magnificent job with immediate release. Now it's time to protect our legacy by building permanent local independence. So, all I am asking from this leadership team today, we're not blessed but we are okay, is the permission to run a micropilot. Let us identify one informal, passionate group already working in a local neighborhood very near to you. Perhaps a group of women trying to start a craft cooperative or a village council wanting to improve their local infrastructure. Both of them. Let's wrap them in the clear, secure guardrails of a Rotary orientation. We handle the governance, which you like most, the financial oversight, and the strategic mentoring. They handle the daily execution. Let's try it for 1 year. Look at where Rotary International is going. Look at the global grants coming out of Helensburgh. The world is moving away from the top-down charity and toward the sustainable, community-led development, sustainable projects. If we want our clubs to remain relevant, vibrant, and more impactful, we must evolve the methods what we use today. Our goal as Rotarians shouldn't be to make communities dependent on our presence. Our ultimate victory is to make ourselves obsolete to them, to give them the tools, the structure, and the confidence to stand entirely on their own feet. Let us protect our Rotary legacy by building their independence. Let's start this pilot. Let's trust this process. Let's watch what happens next when we stop serving for a community and start serving with them. Thank you for this opportunity.
Ida, shall we play your video?
It's a short video. So this is one of the 150 community corps in Turkey, in the western part of Turkey. One of them coming from Kenya, of course, you can see, because I'm a cadre. I have the chance to visit Kenya community corps, which were very powerful, so I put something to them. So, navigating the culture shift to empowerment
Ida, she said to me, she sings, she runs, she walks, she bikes, she even wrote a book for RCC. Let's give her, let's give her another clap. For the women empowerment. Yeah. So thank you so much, Ida. So your experience affirms us that RCC is not just a concept or an idea. It actually works and it is scalable and it can actually transform communities, right? So thank you so much. And so now, we'll hear about a more personal community story and of what RCC can look like through mothers coming from a marginalized town from Quezon, Philippines. And a Rotarian thought and felt she could do something different to make a difference. So Annabelle Perez-Cueto is the current president of the Rotary Club of Honduras, and I like to call her my RCC champion because what we are building in our little town in Chao is, well, it would not be what it is now if she hasn't done and shown up the way she has. So I am extremely happy and grateful for Annabelle for being here to tell her RCC story. Thank you very much, Glenda. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I am Annabelle Perez-Cueto, the current president of the Rotary Club of Chaopias in District 3820, Philippines. Today, I am sharing not only as a Rotarian, but as someone who is witnessing how community members can grow when they're given the right support, the right space, and the opportunity to lead together. What we are continuing to learn through our RCC is this: people do not heal nor grow simply because information is available. People begin to feel better when they feel safe enough to be seen, heard, and supported. And when this happens, they begin to grow, connect, and choose better for themselves and for others. This understanding shapes the heart of our RCC Center in building peace and advancing mental health. In many rural communities, especially among marginalized mothers and caregivers in Daong, Quezon, Philippines, there is often a quiet emotional burden that goes unseen. Mothers continue functioning day to day. They continue caring for their families. They continue surviving. But many also experience internal struggles. Underneath their strength, many are carrying exhaustion, grief, anxiety, isolation, or emotional overwhelm, without safe spaces to process those experiences. And while our local communities may have programs for livelihood, education, or physical health, emotional well-being is often the area that receives little to no attention. What we are learning in working with our RCC is this: many mothers are not lacking strength nor resilience. They are lacking support, connection, and safe spaces to feel understood and to feel that their well-being matters. In 2022, during the Imagine Rotary Year, I witnessed the work being done with RCC Ilaw ng Tahanan, a group of mothers from a marginalized population in the rural town of Piao. They gather weekly for facilitated discussions, often sitting on the floor, sharing, learning, reflecting, and supporting one another.
What began as a simple facilitated gatherings slowly evolved into healing circles and community-led emotional wellness and peer support gatherings. Instead of beginning with large systems, the work began with meaningful guided conversations, with listening, with mentoring, with creating spaces where people felt less alone. Over time, the mothers themselves wanted mothers to experience what they are experiencing. And also they wanted to reach children and youth, to raise awareness about issues like bullying, addiction, and early pregnancy. In witnessing the work of the RCC, I realized something. If this work was going to continue, and if it's going to reach more mothers, it needed a space where it could grow. So I made the personal decision, with the support of my husband, past President Ed Cueto from the Rotary Club of Chao, to offer our property to the RCC as a place for the mothers to gather. Now, it is where they bring their children and their neighbors' children to learn and experience something that they otherwise wouldn't. What I am witnessing is not simply a project or a program. I see and hear about mothers slowly reconnecting with themselves, inspiring other mothers, and coming together with Rotarians and non-Rotarians. In service of the community with care and a willingness to make a difference. Today, this space has evolved into what we call now the RCC Center for Peace and Mental Health. It is increasingly becoming a safe space for mothers, children, and youth. A place for emotional support and learning. A center where individuals feel seen, heard, and valued. My property is no longer simply a building. It has become a meaningful place where people heal, learn, grow, and begin to lead themselves and others. Let me show you what it looks like on the ground.
In every community, there are stories we do not always see. Mothers carrying heavy burdens. Young people longing to be understood. Families facing pain, fear, and loneliness. What if there was a place where people felt safe to be heard, to feel included? From that vision, the RCC Center was born. A healing-centered community built on connection, compassion, and hope. Here, mothers rediscover their strength, voice, and inner peace. Children and youth find safe spaces to express themselves, build resilience, and grow. We do not begin by asking, what is wrong with you? Instead, we ask, what is happening to you? And we walk alongside one another with understanding and care. Because healing begins when people feel seen, heard, and valued. At the RCC Center, connection becomes strength, compassion becomes hope, and community becomes a pathway to peace. Because peace building is not only about preventing conflict, it is also about healing people, strengthening families, and restoring human connection. And when one mother begins to heal, a family can heal, a community can heal. And little by little, a more peaceful world becomes possible.
One of the most powerful things we witness is that real transformation often begins quietly. Transformation begins when a mother says, "This is the first time I felt truly listened to. I didn't think my feelings mattered. I know now peace at home is possible, and it begins with me." We are witnessing deep transformation when a person learns how to acknowledge and express emotions safely rather than suppress them. We are seeing stronger peer support, healthier communication, more peaceful relationship, greater emotional awareness, and a deep community connection. We acknowledge and understand that not every challenge disappears, but we have mothers sharing that they are beginning to respond to life challenges differently, with more reflection, greater mindfulness, more hope, and a growing belief that they are worthy. This internal shifts matters because emotionally supported individuals help create emotionally healthier families and more peaceful communities. There are several important lessons we are continuing to learn. First, healing and growth cannot be rushed. Trust and transformation takes time. Second, community matters deeply. People heal more sustainably when they heal in connection with others. And third, emotional and mental wellness are not separate from peace building or community development. When mothers are emotionally overwhelmed and unsupported, they struggle. As a result, their families experience struggles, and eventually the community suffers. But when mothers feel grounded, connected, supported, and empowered, they become more capable of contributing positively to their families and communities. They choose better. They do better. As Rotarians and community leaders, we often focus on solving visible problems, but many invisible struggles exist underneath the surface of the communities we serve. Mental and emotional well-being are deeply connected to education, family stability, peace building, leadership, and long-term community resilience. And through the partnership with our RCC, I am realizing something important. We do not always need to be at the front line to serve or lead our communities ourselves. Sometimes, another role we can take is to create space, to support, to allow people to step forward, to trust the community, and to encourage leadership to rise from within. Because sometimes, the most transformational thing we can offer our community is not solving every problem or challenges for them. Sometimes, it is our presence, creating safety, building capacity, deepening connection, to help them feel that they don't have to carry their burdens alone, that they are worthy, and that they too have the capacity to lead and create the solution they seek. And I believe working with RCC gives us this opportunity to have the RCC Center a safe community space where this transformation can happen is a powerful way to create lasting impact. To close my part of this presentation, my hope is that this community story of healing and growth experienced by mothers and the impact that it has had in their homes and in the community has moved you as it has moved me. To look closer at your community and to identify which group can your club support and empower. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Annabelle. My fellow Rotarians, that woman is my club president, and this is her first time public speaking. Can we give her another hand, please? I told her that she's the only person who can tell her story, and I think she told it pretty well, right? So thank you, Annabelle, for saying that. So I just want to highlight that RCC story, and also what Ida had said, is that the community is at the front and center of all the work, right? So I hope that what we shared today reminds you of something important, that Rotary's greatest strength is not only in the projects we build, it is in the lives of people we empower. RCC gives us an opportunity to move beyond short-term service and toward deeper community partnership, shared leadership, and sustainable impact. Because when people feel seen, supported, trusted, and empowered, communities become stronger. And perhaps that is one of the most powerful forms of service we can offer. And so what is next? All right, so let's keep things simple. Let's just start a conversation, like what Ida and Annabelle had said. Let's go home and discuss this with our club and ask ourselves where RCC could begin in our community and identify groups who we can empower and bring into Rotary. So, to close our breakout session, thank you all for being here. We hope that we were able to show you how RCC partnership powers up our impact. And I believe we all would agree that when communities are empowered to rise, Rotary's reach is amplified. And don't we want that? Okay, so we have a QR code. Please take a picture, as it will take you to a link with all the resources you need to start an RCC, a Rotary Community Corps. And also you will get access to this presentation and our contacts if you need us. So I guess we will open up the, we have how many minutes? Yeah, we have 9 minutes. The floor is open. Any questions, comments? Come to the front. Yes.
Mike.
There's a mic over there. There's a mic over there.
Thank you, Hannah.
I wasn't exactly clear. What was the project of the first speaker?
What was the project of the first, as me, first speaker? Okay. So many projects. Which one do you want to hear? In which area of focus you want to be involved with? In which area of focus, 7 areas of focus you're involved in, right? You are interested in.
So you were saying you talked about a lot of projects all at once. That's why I couldn't figure it out.
Actually, because I'm a very lucky woman, as a woman, because my geography is like from the Middle East, I always have the concentration on women and girls' education. So one of my best favorite, what I feel, is the financial literacy workshops in all RCCs, and apart from factories, little villages. I just show women how to raise money, how to save money, how to spend money. So this is kind of a very big thing, behind it. But almost like 10,000 women I've reached with these workshops. And what you see in those pictures, that there were so many earthquake victims that we sheltered, the mobilization, the hospitals, and so on, and emergency relief. And I really like to have a word with my president here. Maybe she will, can I? She's the current president now, and she had just owned an RCC. Maybe you can just a little, Michelle, 1 or 2 minutes, please, because we don't have so much time. It's a real one coming from the ground as a president.
Okay. Thank you, Aida. I'm Neşe Gök from Turkey, president of the İzmir Dokuzeli Rotary Club. Our RCC is a school from the age of 5 to 10. So what we do is we have 3 kinds of projects. First, the infrastructure of the school, any need of the school we provide. Second, education for the parents. We have trainings like once in 2 weeks. It can be about violence in the household, how can I avoid it, or communication with the children, communication in families, and cybersecurity, or drug addiction, or whatever a parent can need. So it's like 600 students. There are also 600 parents, mostly women. 600 common students. Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.
And the third one is the children. So we provide trainings for the children. For instance, are there any Japanese friends here? No? We had a very nice Japanese day, and there are now in the far end of Turkey a class that knows Japan very, very well, for instance. So that was kind of it.
So this is one of the schools, but we have animal shelters, for example. In Turkey, it's very popular. We have hospitals. We have the other NGOs that we are partners with, like RCC. So we have so many. So that's why 150. And one day you visit Turkey, I'll make you promise that I'll take you one of our RCCs. Yeah,
Thank you, Ida. Yeah, I think there's to add to that, Ida, right? So I think there's a thinking that RCC is, because RCC started in the Philippines, and at first it was focused on livelihood, community, economic development, and it has evolved. And I love that you said which area of focus, because RCC's Rotary Community Corps can really do all areas of focus, and it's really about supporting them to do that.
It's like a lab, it's like an art game, it's something that we just put everything in an RCC, and it's like an experimental lab there. So you can do anything, but the first focus is coming from the needs. So that's why I asked area of focus.
Yes, and that's why we have that QR code. The community needs assessment is there, because that's really important, right? It depends on what the community needs are. Yes?
My name is Kelly, and I'm from the local club here, this area. I'm lucky because where I live, only 10 minutes to here. I joined the Rotary Club only after my retirement. It's only 2 years, so relatively I'm quite new It's first time I heard of RCC. And I'm interested to know when you have this kind of a project, how you make sure the local people they can organize and become a window. They can, doesn't mean you have to work with them continuously, right? They can work independently. And how can you share the experience? It looked to me it seems quite different. You have local people, they organize themselves, and they tell you what they need, and continuously. This is not so easy to start.
Well, to start is probably easy, but to keep it going,
I think it's after 1 year, to keep it going is much difficult because of our, leadership process in Rotary. Because this president likes to be in that RCC, but that president don't want to. So I think it is the most difficult part to sustain the RCC in multi years in Rotary life. But what is that when they know more Rotary, I mean, because they are non-Rotarians, they don't know us. And they think that mostly we are the rich people. We are always wining and dining with the long tables, white tables, and so on. When they connect with each Rotarian, they see a spirit. They see, for example, as a banker, they can't reach a banker like me because I'm the tuxedo. Just joking. I was the servant one. But they want to ask something about money. And I am there. I mean, they can ask easily. They don't have to rush and go for a banker because they don't have a bank in their village. Okay? So they can reach me with very easy way, and they can talk to me like a friend. I'm not a consultant. I'm not a mentor. I'm not a hierarchical top of them. We are friends. We are in the same levels. We're just talking, like business talk, small talk. So I think it's kind of a thing that really it's easy to sustain, not to building. Building is very easy. Yeah.
Just a very quick question. I'm Erin Conway from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and also very new to Rotary. I saw some years up there. You said the RCC started in the Philippines. When was like the first RCC?
So the first, I think it was called RVC, and so we have here our past district governor from 3820, who actually interviewed the RI president who started the RCC, which was then called RVC, right? Correct. So what year was that, PDG?
86.
1986 was the first RVC, which had
Muntinlupa, Lisa. Muntinlupa, Metro Manila.
Muntinlupa, Metro Manila in the Philippines. And so
Southern part.
it has evolved. And as you heard from Ida, it has evolved into so many other areas of focus. And with Annabelle, it's actually also evolved because now the RCCs, our group of mothers was working on themselves. And now there's an RCCP center where all the non-Rotarians are coming in, the mothers, and they're bringing their kids. So it's an evolution. It's really allowing ourselves to evolve,
It depends
right?
on the culture and the nation too. Because, for example, 2 years ago in Singapore, I was again a panelist in Rotary Community Corps. And for example, the United States are very low on these kind because they don't have kind of a community needs. They are not very for the civilized or the more national, like more modern part. But in this part of the world, we have so many RCCs. It evolves according to culture as well.
We've reached the end of our Q&A session, but please feel free to reach out to our lovely presenters via the QR code. Yes, thank you so much, Linda. Yes, thank you all so much for joining us. If you enjoyed the session, I know I did. Please fill out the survey so we can promote these wonderful women and get this
Yes,
story
promote, we will.
even higher to even more people.
Sorry. Sorry.